Thank you, Lindsay. Now on Bounds, 20 women share their unique stories of spiritual and personal transformation in a newly released book titled Soul Talk. I want to welcome one of the co-authors, Tammy Woodard, to the show. We appreciate you being here tonight, Tammy.
Thank you for having me.
So let's dive right in. Talk about the premise of this book and the stories in it.
Okay, the book was created by our visionary, which is Sheryl Pilote Williamson, and she wanted to get the message out to women and men. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people think that the book is just for women. It's just that it's women telling the story, and but they can relate to it as mm-hmm. well. But the book is about 20 women, and we are telling our testimony, our personal testimony of how we overcome different obstacles. We talk about what we went through. We talk about how we went through the fire, but yet we didn't get burned.
Are these some of the women that
yes.
Participated in telling their story in the book? Is that what we're
yes,
seeing here?
Yes, that is the 20 women in the book, including myself, and in the center that is Sheryl Pilote Williamson, who is our visionary.
Okay.
And the book is a powerful, powerful book of testimonies. These women were bold, as myself, including myself.
And I want to talk about your story because you co-authored the book. Tell me your story, your transformation, just a little bit about it, what you went through.
Mine is like a chronological story. I talk about growing up, being adopted, and how I felt during that time period, and also how those emotions transferred on into the decisions that I made throughout my whole life. I also talk about going through my divorce and how I felt during that process, and how during that process, my chapter is called From the Pit to the Promises of God. And so I talk about that pit moment because a lot of us, we go through those pit moments but don't know how to come out of those pit moments. But for me, it took a lot. I talk about it in the book. I describe it as a grieving process because when you're talking about divorce, it's the death of a marriage. So with that being said, you grieve just as if that person is actually gone. You know, that person is dead. So for me, that was my pit moment. And during that pit moment is when I discovered my purpose.
And speaking of purpose, why do you believe it is so important to find your purpose?
I think until you discover what your purpose is, you're just kind of wandering around aimlessly. You don't know what you're doing. That's why you find a lot of people that tend to get themselves in trouble. They're in a lot of toxic relationships because they don't know what their purpose is. And once you discover your purpose, you'll find out that life is so much easier. You know, now you have a path to follow. It's just like a career. When you decide on a career and you know where you're going, then you can take the adequate steps to get there. But until you know your purpose, you're just kind of wandering around aimlessly.
Is there one main takeaway from this book?
I would say the main takeaway is that to not allow your circumstances to dictate your future.
And you also have a new book project coming out, Beyond Her Reflection.
Yes, Beyond Her Reflections. Beyond Her Reflection is when people see us, and not just women, they see the outer shell, but they have no idea what's beyond that reflection in the mirror. And sometimes we don't know what's beyond that reflection in the mirror until we do a self-examination. So in this book is an anthology of women who will be giving their personal testimony as well. So when people see these women, they're going to be wowed because they're telling stories that they've never told before, that people have no idea about them, you know. So just knowing that, wow, I'm not in this alone, because there are people struggling, but they're ashamed. So in this book, it's a tell-all.
All right, Tammy, thank you so much for being here tonight. Soul
You're
Talk,
welcome.
which is the first book we were talking about tonight, can be purchased on Amazon. And we have a link on our website, WBTV.com. Look in the web extra section. It's right there on the home page. Tammy, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And for your candor, talking about your story. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you allowing me to be here.
Absolutely. We're always looking to spotlight those who are doing good in our community.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Stay with us. We got more WBTV news on Bounce coming up right after the break.